discuss matters of business on hashtag Biashara Tuesday. That's why we stream it, by the way, so you can catch us live on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, and also on our YouTube channels at KUTV Kenya Live. Tell me what you think or what is happening around the world. How are you doing? It's a chilly morning in Nairobi and its environs, in Kiambu as well. It is drizzling when I was coming in. I don't know about where you are, where are you watching us from, how is the weather over there. We shall be taking a look at, of course, what you'll be expecting. Weather patterns are looking like they have changed as we have observed, or in comparison to previous years. Climate change might actually be real, so think about it. Tell me how it looks like wherever you are. And if you're going out this morning in Nairobi or in any major highway all over the country, please make sure that you are safe. The roads are slippery and it is foggy as well. So drive slowly, drive safe, and get to work as you try and rebuild this economy. One of those things that are happening, of course, in the capital city of Kenya, that's where we first take a look at, is prices of water. So it looks like Nairobi water bills for homes and businesses in Nairobi County specifically are set to rise up to 40% if the regulator agrees to this fresh tariff review that I've been looking at since yesterday, and it's going to set stage for further squeeze on what we are experiencing in the cost of living. Household budgets are expected to go up as this water bill for homes and businesses go up 40%. And the water service regulator said that on Friday last week, that the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company had sought higher tariffs so that they can use that to pay loans and also build infrastructure. So this is happening and is given more than 5 million residents of the capital city anxiety, or to submit also their views is what is required at this moment to the Nairobi, to the Water Service and Regulatory Body or Board, WASREB. So make sure that you're sending in your thoughts on the rising cost of water bills if you are someone who is a resident of Nairobi. That is what is happening, as Treasury is also looking at how way in which we can, patch that budget deficit that we're experiencing. Of course, we're getting now to that year where the 3.3 trillion budget of beginning July of 2022, the financial year beginning this July, is going to take effect. How is Kenya going to patch all of that? Yesterday night, a showdown happened in the presidential debate 2022, beginning with the gubernatorial debate between Polycarp Igathe and one senator of Nairobi County, Senator Johnson Sakaja. Now that happened in a very grueling or a very intense debate that happened over there. Very many things happening, from petty statements to real serious issues that are being discussed on how exactly these two candidates are going to help the residents, more than 5 million residents of Nairobi, cope with the high cost of living and various other issues of security and, of course, matters of the economy. We shall be taking a look at how that went down and a few snippets, of course, of that debate that happened, which is kickstarting the presidential debate, and we're now expecting more to happen into the future. The presidential candidate, their running mates as well, are expected to show up at that university grounds, that is the Catholic University of East Africa, KUEA, at Karen, Nairobi, to take a look at what they are offering to Nairobians. Ensure that you are also checking that out if you didn't, and tell us what you think. We shall be going through all of that as it goes on. Wheat prices are dropped, so if there's positive news you're looking for, prices of wheat have dropped at more than 20,000 per ton when I was checking this morning. And this looks like any products that is, any wheat products that are coming into the country because of this drop in international or decline in international markets, we're expecting that the prices of various of these products to go even lower. So ensure that you're checking out for that, at least a relief in the high cost of living that we have been experiencing. I'll be taking a look at what is happening in matters of COVID as well. Stay safe. It is cold, very prime environment for the spread of COVID-19. However, keep safe, mask up, wash your hands as regularly as possible, sanitize as well, and avoid crowded places as much as you can. If you're indoors, do mask up. Those are regulations by the Ministry of Health. I'll be taking a look at the numbers, vaccination efforts, and how that is happening all across the facilities in the country, which is free, by the way. If you haven't been vaccinated from 15 years and above, get yours as early as you can. If you haven't gotten the second shot, also that is available to you. traffic updates on those roads. Nairobi Expressway, we saw the situation with matatus, lots of accidents being experienced there, overspeeding. The government decided to ban matatus from the Nairobi Expressway. I don't know if the situation has changed, but if you've been using it, tell us what you think, and then we'll be giving you also the alternative routes. If your route is clogged up, tuambie kuna kaje, na saizi kwa sababu kuna teleza sana, tuambie other routes which people can use which are safer than what we are having on the highways. Slippery roads all over, so they do stay safe. It's also foggy, as I said earlier on. Welcome. We're going to take a look at a lot of business, technology, economy, and everything in between. How do you make money? How do you lose money? Also be engaging with you on the comment sections. Make sure that you do tag me as well on social media at Richard_OKENYE. Welcome to this show. I'll be your host all the way to the end. Don't go too far. I'll be right back. All right, we're still here. It's Biashara Tuesday just started. If you've tuned in for the first time, do tell us where you're watching us from and what pushed you to watch us, of course. I know we have amazing stuff going on. There's so much that you can't actually pick out. But if you have a favorite of this show, do tell us. Alafu, we'll make sure that we acknowledge your presence. Anyone else you want to tune into the show, use the hashtag Biashara Tuesday, hashtag Rise Today at Richard_Kenya. That's where you find me at KUTV Kenya. There's also SMS/WhatsApp numbers here. You have no excuse to not leave us a comment if you're flipping into this channel at any point throughout this show. So do tell us what you think. COVID-19 updates in Kenya right about now from the Ministry of Health's portal is what I'm taking a look at. And in the past 24 hours, this is what is happening. 68 new cases have been found to be positive out of a sample size of 1,637, and this is a positivity rate of 4.2%. 4.2% is below 5%, as we've been trying to ensure we are below that 5% recommendation by the WHO. So 257 are the recoveries, as you can see on the screen. Recorded deaths, however, we lost one person. So our condolences go out to these families. And there are the numbers on the cumulative tests, confirmed cases, and total recoveries as well. Ensure you're masking up, as we have been saying, and following all the regulations by the Ministry of Health. Vaccination efforts continue to get yourself vaccinated, as the government is offering that all over the health facilities and all the community-based organizations that have been authorized by the Ministry of Health. Get that, and we shall be staying safe as we try and beat this COVID-19. News updates are coming up as well. Traffic updates courtesy of Math Reroute on Twitter. So that's coming up, and then we shall be taking a look at what is happening in your world from yesterday's bulletin, and then go on with matters of business on hashtag Biashara Tuesday. We're still on. It was quite a heated moment last week on Tuesday after Biashara Tuesday on social media, at the very least, where one media personality, Caroline Mutoko, found herself in the midst of the heat that we are usually accustomed to from KOT, when she mentioned that matatus should be banned from the Nairobi Expressway. But as of that time, matatus were allowed to be using the expressway. However, during the day, the government came out to, ban matatus from using the expressway because of those few accidents that were witnessed 2 weeks, or in a period of 2 weeks, as up to last week. Now, what do you think should happen, as per your view, as someone who is whether you're a road user using matatu or you're someone who uses their own personal vehicle, what do you think should happen, especially considering that the matatu business does rake in lots of money in terms of taxes and revenue to the government and to all these matatu owners as well? Could be a very good way for us to repay the loan that has been used to build the expressway, or the fastest way, therefore, if all these matatus were allowed to use the expressway. Is it an issue of design? Is it an issue of indiscipline by the matatus? Honest opinion, we'd love to hear that. However, furthering that conversation, what should be done to improve the public transport in Kenya? We are having this conversation on social media. Do tell us, what do you think should be done? Should we go electric? I'm seeing BRT buses, of course, once or twice on Thika Road, being that is the one that's complete, the project that's almost complete. That's going to happen all over Nairobi and its outskirts, where all these BRT stations are located. What do you think should happen? Is this the solution, or are there regulations that should be enforced to ensure that public transport is getting better for all of us? So do tell us that as we take a look at the updates this morning. Kuna mmoja anasema avoid the expressway kabisa, utapitia hapo ukifikiria unahepa traffic, alafu ujipate ukilipa 100,000 na pia ulipe expressway. Robert Mullins, I'd love to know what the costs are for. Wanasema it's safe and fast though, use the expressway. That's what they said. Andrew Mushai on Twitter pale as well. Sigona, very poor visibility according to Levisino hapa. As drivers, we need to use our vision to its greatest effect. With that in mind, here are a few questions to quiz you on how to actually keep our vehicle under control in such situations. So check that out. I'm retweeting it on my timeline at Richard_Kenye. I already have. Take a look at that if you're a driver going out this morning. Accident at Thika Super Highway, Ruiru, involving an 8-seater matatu and 2 saloon cars. Carefully drive if you're in saloon cars, yeah? So that is happening, and it's an update from Gefiams. Transformers have blown up on Lenana Road. Noni's World. If you're in Lenana Road, beware of that. Heavy traffic along Moi Avenue and Haile Selassie Avenue as well. If you're getting to the CBD, plan your journey properly. It is drizzling. Drive at controllable speeds on Outer Ring Road. Drive carefully. So that's from Outer Ring Road, KE, an account that gives us updates on Outer Ring Road. Namanga Road at Kitengela, traffic is flowing. This is as of 1 hour ago. And here, of course, roads are slippery everywhere. That's what I'm receiving from major roads: Mombasa Road, Langata, Southern Bypass inbound at Kikuyu, City Hopper bus and Isuzu pickup accident. Traffic is building up over there in Southern Bypass inbound at Kikuyu. Kama unaelekea Kikuyu or coming out of that place, beware. The Nairobi bound commuter train from Ruiru, it is now currently at Mutindo stage as always. It's usually at Mutindo stage at around this time when coming on air. So commuters have to battle mud, pools of water and drizzle to get into the train. What happened to the station construction? That's a question we're receiving from the users of the commuter train. What happened to the station construction? Watu wananyeshewa na wanapita katikati ya matope kufikia train. What's happening? Kenya and relevant authorities, Kenya Railways, attend to that as well. Unarauka 5:30, unapatana na jam Nyayo, unafika job 10 a.m. Eric 254 anasema, so heri uamke 10, right? But if you're coming to Biashara Tuesday, you better be up earlier. And that's why I love you guys for having been here. That is the updates that we have, or those are the updates that we have so far. If you're in any other road in Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, kama unatuwatch, tuambie what is happening over there, what alternative routes can people use, and then tutakwambia the transport and current traffic conditions of the area that is closest to you. Right about now, what is happening in your world as well, politics and economics from all over the world and locally, and then we go on with matters of Biashara Tuesday. This is still #Biashara Tuesday on Rise Today. All right. Biashara Tuesday, interact with us on all social media platforms at KUTV Kenya, and also Facebook, especially pale najua mtoto wa Mariam atakuwa huko pia kiwachangamsha. Comment there, interact with the rest of the people. I will be there as soon as possible. In this show, we're going to give you a few, snippets and, take a look at footage from what happened yesterday night. I know that's the talk of the town right about now, the gubernatorial debate of Nairobi between Polycarp Igathe, the front runners, of course, Polycarp Igathe and Johnson Sakaja. A lot has been happening with, in their personal lives and also in their political lives in the past few weeks. It's been a heated environment in Nairobi. We're going to have a look at some of the solutions they say they are offering the capital city of Kenya economy to handle. So it's important we know who is going to be the caretaker of this kind of economy. So we'll be having a look at that. I'll give you what I think about it and also interact with me and tell me what are your thoughts on what these two candidates did say yesterday night. Also, Women Empowerment Forum did happen last week. We're going to have a look at that and see what are women doing, especially in matters of business, the economy. What is their contribution? What is the role of women in rebuilding the economy? We have a very exciting piece on IBRIC, so that is something also you don't want to miss. I know we've had that here before, but this is also as good as any other time to have a look at that and see what kind of business tools it is that you can get to learn and also apply to your small business or big business that you're doing out there. Tell us where you're watching us from. That's really important for us, and also who else you want to watch the show as we continue. These are the news updates coming to you, so don't go too far. I'm coming with them. All right, Black Rebel from Juja anasema tupo site already at KUTV Kenya, #Biashara Tuesday. Alvin Leyan also watching us all the way from Salt Lake City, Utah. Is it Utah or Utah? In the United States, Utah. So that's it. Alvin Leyan, thank you for watching us. And tell the people of Salt Lake City to continue tuning in to Biashara Tuesday. Let's go on and see what's happened in our world. And beginning with election preparedness, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has held a panel of discussion featuring IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati and representatives of election management bodies in Zambia, Ghana, and South Africa. The panelists shared insights through comparative assessment of the role of the media and opinion polls in election agenda setting. The Commission urges for a partnership with the media for purposes of result transmission to foster transparency. The pre-conference comes ahead of the two-day elections conference scheduled for the 11th and 12th of this month.
Accreditation and media support. So with 28 days, we are concerned that we haven't gotten any accreditation so far. While I know internally a lot is happening, and IBC has assured us that something is happening, but we need information to give the journalists to relax that work's being done. When there's a gap, people start imagining nothing's happening. But
is one, that the media are our eyes and ears. For us as a commission to manage elections, we can't do it on our own. We need the media to work with us. We take seriously what we read in the papers. You said there are more than 100 newspaper publications. How many of them have registered offices? Because I know some who write a lot of things and you can't trace them.
In Kiambu County, police officers have arrested 5 suspects of a gang named the KK Brothers that has been propagating fear and tension in the residents of Ruiru constituency. The police have recovered firearms as well as electronics stolen by the gang in their raids to wreak havoc in the region. The Kiambu County Commander Mushangi Kioi said that they are hunting down other suspects and will soon have them arrested.
5 suspects from a deadly criminal gang dubbed KK Brothers have been arrested by police in Kiambu County. The gang is said to have been instilling fear and terrorizing residents of Ruiru area in Kiambu County for the last 2 weeks.
Tumekuwa na ngenge la magaindi wanajiita KK Brothers. Wamekuwa wakihangaisha watu area za Junja, aswa sehemu ya Mung'etho, Junja Farm, Mwalimu Farm, Ruiru, mpare wa Kistinge, area za Mwea, Ngoigwa na masto hapo Junja. Na iko aswa ile area walikuwa wamehangaisha watu sana ni area 4, mali inaitwa Junja area 4.
The gang is reported to have been operating at Mungetho, Juja Farm, Mwalimu Farm, Ruiru Town, Mwea, Ngoingwa and Mastore areas, leaving residents living in the areas in fear. They further present themselves as policemen by wearing police uniforms in order to easily carry out their legal missions in their various operating stations in the region.
Tumeweza kuwanasa, walikuwa wanatumia uniform wakindanganya watu kwamba wao ni askari, lakini si askari haswa, ni wale fake police officers.
According to Kiambu County Commander Muchangi Kioi, the police have recovered firearms used by the gang to instill fear in the residents, as well as electronic devices such as mobile phones and crude weapons that they use to raid electronic shops and homes.
Hiyo operesheni tumeweza kupata punduki aina ya AK-47 mbili na pistols mbili pia. Pistol moja na AK-47 moja tumerecover ile za Junja, alafu pistol moja na AK moja tumerecover hapa area Ruiru.
Re-emergence of the armed criminal group, according to the police, has seen them prey on unsuspecting targets who are often terrorized and robbed. Most suspects who are being hunted down by the police will soon be apprehended. Kanana Kithinji, KUTV.
Wow, so that's a bit scary because one of those areas which have been mentioned there, I happen to live there and I'm not aware of the KK brothers, so I need my security to go up. I am in danger, but thank you for the security forces who are trying to ensure that these gang-related incidences are eradicated. A land use management system of growing trees together with the crops is said to be beneficial to the young farmers in the country. Participatory Land Use Management Association, or PELAM, has given a clarion call to the farmers to embrace agroforestry, weighing into its benefits. Listen in.
Amidst the tough economic times and food scarcity, farmers are challenged to adapt agroforestry in the farms. Having a natural comfort of good air condition is something we all need. Kennedy Ngoma's farm is modeled on agroforestry with grown trees, a banana plantation, maize fields, and fruit trees. The agroforestry farmer, being a beneficiary of a project that brings together tens of thousands smallholder farmers in arid and semi-arid parts, has discouraged the growing of soil water depleting trees like eucalyptus.
Kwa sababu ile majani ya miti, wakati yenye nimekata miti ama ngoa miti ama nimefanya pruning, hiyo majani naweka kwa compost, natengeneza manyiwa, hiyo manyiwa naweka kwa shamba ya mahindi, shamba ya mboga.
According to the program officer, Miss Mary Irungu, agroforestry has been well known in many traditional contexts since a very long time. She advised county governments to channel more investments and resources in agroforestry.
Among the benefits of agroforestry is on soil fertility management, increased food security among smallholder farmers. Agroforestry is also a source of timber, a source of fuel in terms of wood fuel for smallholder farmers.
A 67-year-old farmer, Florence Okumu, recounted on how she has benefited from the farming system and continues to train other farmers on integrated farming in the program fronted by PELAM Kenya and via agroforestry.
Niambia wamama wengine mahali popote waliko waamue wajiunge na shirika hata kimaeti kwetu hapa karibuni, waingie na tufanye pamoja. Watapata masomo na tena watapata miti ya kupanda. Hawatakuwa na shida ya hali ya hewa kwa sababu hapo zamani sisi.
Agroforestry could be the game changer in the agricultural sector. The farmers are urged to grow trees that naturally captures carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, reducing pressure on natural forests by providing a stable source of local wood that generates long-term income. Imaset Stacy for KUTV.
Right, so we want to have a look at what happened over at the Nairobi gubernatorial debate. By the way, 2 questions. How many people, if we did a poll right about now, know who the governor of Nairobi is as of the moment? And how does she look like if you're someone who's a Nairobi resident? Do you know who's the current governor? And do you know how she looks like? Were you aware she's a she? It's a she, for that matter. Secondly, yesterday night, it wasn't just a debate between Polycarp Igathe and Johnson Sakaja. There were other candidates as well. But will you name even one of them if you were asked how many of those candidates were invited? 7 candidates invited for the first year, only for 4 to show up. One of them being Johnson Sakaja, who showed up a bit late for that debate. Integrity question took the center stage during this Nairobi governors debate as the 2 front runners, who's Polycarp Igathe, as I said, and Johnson Sakaja, took on each other. The 2 of them displayed their prowess, of course, and tasked to explain their views on various issues in Nairobi, from NMS, corruption, and even the degree requirement to become or to rise to leadership. What did each of them have to say? We're going to have a look at each of them, and then what are your views as well? Let's have a look. Let's begin.
For governor. I'll start with you, sir. And in leadership and integrity, definitely we look at the importance of that within your leadership once you or when you make the governorship. But start us off by telling us what separates you apart from your competitor.
Thank you very much for that question, and thanks for having me. I'm a product of Kenya's public education system. I'm a product of Kenya's public health system. I was born in Pumwani Hospital. I was educated through Kenya's public education system. I went to a public university, the University of Nairobi. And that sets me apart because in all those 3 levels, I came out through my upbringing by my dad and mom. My mom, who was a primary school teacher, Mrs. Kamau, and my dad, Mr. Kamau, who was an accountant. My teacher, Francis Bogongare, who I'm very proud is watching me from his home in Meru today. My English teacher, Mrs. Kathucha. These people, my teachers, my parents, my early bosses, and my latest boss, Dr. James Mwangi, taught me 3 things which sets me apart. That approach every task, approach every calling with high intention, with sincere effort, and with intelligent execution. High intention is prayer, sincere effort is hard work, intelligent execution is discipline. That is what we call a PhD. That sets me apart. And Nairobi, I bring a PhD attitude to the job. Give it to me. Thank you.
Naam, umetaja pale kuhusu masuala ya elimu, familia yako ina ueledi wa masuala ya elimu. Wewe mwenyewe umesema kwamba ni msomi wa katika chuo kikuu cha Nairobi. Je, unadhani ni muhimu kwa mgombea kuwa na degree ili kuweza kuongoza kaunti ya Nairobi?
Ni muhimu kwa mgombea kiti chochote ambacho kiko katika katiba ya taifa letu kuwa amehitimu na amefikisha kiwango ambacho kinakubaliwa na katiba. Kwa hivyo huo umuhimu sio mimi kusema, ni katiba imesema. Ni lazima uhitimu uwe mwalimu, lazima uhitimu uwe daktari, lazima uhitimu uwe mechanic. Hata kuosha gari inahitaji uwe umehitimu au kuwa waiter. Kwa hivyo hata hii kazi ya gavana inahitaji kuhitimu, na hilo ni jambo ambalo latakikana na katiba ya taifa letu la Kenya.
Lakini unadhani kwamba kuwa na degree ni ishara tosha kwamba utakuwa kiongozi bora? Kwa sababu kusoma ni kitu kimoja, uongozi ni kitu kingine. Je, kuwa na degree ndio ishara kwamba utakuwa kiongozi ambaye anastahili?
La hasha, ni mwanzo. Kwa sababu lazima uwe umefikisha kiwango cha usomi. Lakini jambo muhimu kuwa kiongozi ni kuwa unaelewa masuala ambayo unakuja kuyashughulikia. Na pia la pili, pia wewe uwe ni mtu ambao wapenda watu. Hii kazi ya siasa, kazi ya kutumikia watu, ni kazi ambayo unaifanya kutoka kwa roho yako. na lazima wewe ni mtu ambaye namba moja mcha Mungu, mtu ambaye anapenda kuhudumia watu. Na mimi maisha yangu yote nimefanya kazi ya huduma kwa wananchi. Nimeuza soda kwa kiosk, nimeuza bairo kwa bookshop, nimeuza pombe kwa bar, na hivi karibuni nilikuwa nauza pesa kwa mama mboga, kwa watu wa matatu, kwa watu ambao tunawaita wachuuzi wa kawaida. Kwa hivyo hiyo uzoefu wangu wa kazi umetokana na kushughulikia watu wa kawaida katika kazi ya mauzo, hasa katika sekta ya kibinafsi.
It has been the accusation leveled against your side by your competitor. Would have been great to have him here to respond to the question of a degree for governors, that the fight at least and the clamor to fight him to qualify to be on the ballot is for the benefit of Igade, to lock him out of the race. Just to clear the air on this, what is your response?
I really want to meet my worthy competitor on the ballot. The fight he's had is a fight I truly regret, because it's stopping Kenyans from actually stopping him from coming to office. When all constitutional institutions fail in their duty, then there is a duty by the citizen. And there is no bigger duty than the duty of voting on 9th of August 2022. I wish him well, and I hope that he can come tonight. I also hope that he will be on the ballot on the 9th of August so that we can beat him at 8:57 a.m.
Na umetaja pale kwamba una uweledi na umejitolea na una ule moyo wa kutaka kuwatumikia wakazi wa Nairobi. Lakini kweli uko tayari kuingia katika kazi ambayo itakubidi uwe pale kwa miaka 5, kwa sababu historia inaonyesha kwamba ulipochaguliwa kuwa naibu gavana uliondoka baada ya miezi 6. Hii kazi itakuhitaji kuwa pale miaka 5. Kweli uko tayari?
Niko tayari, niko gangari, na nimejitayarisha vilivyo kutumikia wananchi wa Kenya katika jiji Nairobi kwa miaka 5. Mimi wakati nilipokuwa kwa kiti ya deputy governor nilisema kwamba sikupata na sikuweza kupatiwa kazi nifanye kama deputy governor. Na kuna jambo moja ambalo lazima tukubali. Ukiangalia wanasiasa katika taifa la Kenya, wako zaidi wanaochaguliwa kupitia kwa debe. Wangapi wanafanya kazi yao na ukweli wanapewa mshahara kwa sababu wamefanya kazi? Hilo ni swali tunafaa kujiuliza. Mimi siwezi kubali mshahara bila kufanya kazi.
Unasema kwamba hukupewa kazi, ni kwamba haukuwa una ushirikiano na Gavana Sonko, ni kwamba ulijipata katika nafasi hiyo kimakosa, au ni vipi wewe kama naibu gavana unasubiri tu kupewa kazi?
Gavana Sonko ni rafiki yangu, ni mwalimu wangu wa kisiasa, hasa siasa za Nairobi, na muheshimu na namuenzi mpaka wa leo. Ni rafiki yangu, hata dakika 5 zilizopita tumeongea. Lakini kazi ni tofauti na urafiki. Siwezi kuja ofisini na kila siku kazi yangu ni kusoma gazeti na kuacha koti kwa kiti alafu naenda na lala. Kazi lazima uwe iko kazi ambayo na mpangilio wa kazi umepewa, na usipopata hiyo kazi basi unaheshimu katiba. Na katiba ya Kenya inasema article 1 kwamba nguvu zote za katiba ni za mwananchi. Na kazi yangu nilipopiga reverse gear ilikuwa ni kusema na heshimu katiba ya Kenya, na heshimu mpiga kura. Na hivi leo nafanywa interview kama mfanyikazi wa watu wa Nairobi, na nawaeleza nitawafanyia kazi. Na baada ya miaka 2-3 mambo ambayo niliona yaweza kutendeka yalitendeka, na tugange yajayo yaliyopita.
In retrospect, you did not quit on the residents of Nairobi who entrusted you and in fact threw their weight behind your boss because you were there as a deputy. You didn't quit on them. Do you owe them an apology?
I failed to earn the trust to deliver my mandate as deputy governor. I never blamed anybody. I blamed myself, and I fell on my sword. Today we see a lot of people who, rather than quit their position, continue to sit there and enjoy the trappings of power and enjoy a salary from government. They enjoy public money, I did not quit on you. If I quit on you, I would not have come to represent myself again through my party Jubilee, through Azimio la Umoja, and contest the nominations, and then win, and then be here as a candidate. I respect Kenya. In our national anthem, we always say, Kenya istahili heshima. And that is a prayer, and that's our national anthem. We put our hands on our hearts, and we say, Kenya istahili heshima. Na heshima ni kwamba, if you feel you're earning money you should not earn, especially public money, then you take a bow and you come back for a fresh mandate. Ladies and gentlemen, I've come for a fresh mandate. I seek to be governor of Nairobi. Please try me.
Unadhani ulihitaji ujuzi wa kisiasa ili kuweza kustahimili mawimbi ambayo yalikukabili wakati huo? Ungekuwa na ujuzi, labda mambo yangekuwa tofauti.
Siasa ni jambo la muhimu sana kuachiwa wanasiasa tu. Sisi ambao tumefanya biashara katika sekta ya kibinafsi tunaelewa, na mimi kama kazi niliyokuwa nikifanya kwa benki, nimeona wafanyabiashara wengi ambao biashara zao wamefunga sababu ya maslahi yao kukataa kuangaliwa na watu ambao hutengeneza sera, hutengeneza sheria katika bunge. Na kwa hivyo nakuja hapa na uzoefu wa private sector, na nasema tuingie sasa. Let us change kidogo, let's change the tune. Tuingie, tupindue, tulete mapinduzi, tulete ari mpya, kasi mpya, mwamko mpya, tuendelee. Tujaribu mtu ambaye ana uzoefu ambao unaweza kusaidia kisiasa. Na siasa ni nini? Siasa ni ile mambo ya kuleta watu pamoja ili mtimize maslahi ya watu na jamii. Mtengeneze uchumi, tutengeneze mazingira, tutengeneze jamii na tuendelee pamoja. Hiyo ndio siasa. Hata katika sekta ya kibinafsi, kazi ndio hiyo ya kufanya kazi na wenzetu. So nimekuja hapa, nimejitolea, nimeamua kwamba Nairobi hatuwezi tena tukaendelea jiji kubwa kama hili kuongozwa na uongozi ambao hauna uzoefu wa kufanya kazi. Mimi na kazi ya kuendesha jiji ni kazi ambayo inahitaji ufanye kazi na wafanyikazi ambao nimechunga. Nimeendesha makampuni ambayo iko na wafanyikazi maelfu, budget za mabilioni, na ndivyo nasema nafikiri nina uzoefu. Hii kazi ya budget bilioni 40, wafanyikazi 15,000, nataka hao wafanyikazi wapate kiongozi bora, kwa sababu wakipata kiongozi bora tutapatia wananchi wa Nairobi huduma na taifa letu litakuwa nzuri, na nitakuwa nimefanya kazi yangu kama mwananchi wa taifa la Kenya.
You do have the decorated profile in terms of the boardroom and the qualifications therein. Politics is part of the game, and especially for a county like Nairobi and the position it has nationally. Are you confident about your political ability to make sure that you control and you keep things under control within the capital?
Thank you very much for the compliment. I can tell you, even private sector, there's a lot of politics. In business, there are shareholders, there are employees, and there are customers. Shareholders invest in employees. Employees invest in customers. Customers pay the shareholders, and the cycle works like that. In politics, the shareholder is the political party. The political party then nominates candidates who come as politicians and civil servants who come as civil servants. And the work of civil servants is to then serve the public. And the public in turn keeps giving power to the right party. I am very proud to be a member of Azimio la Umoja, led by the most disciplined shareholder in politics, if I can use those words, Raila Amolo Odinga Baba. He has run the most disciplined political party. I'm very proud to be a member of his team.
Right. So he says that he's bringing the corporate know-how and political experience into the leadership of Nairobi, a new kind of leadership that Polycarp Igathe is promising to more than 4 million residents of Nairobi with 2.4 million votes at stake. This leadership experience that he has from the corporate world, is it the one that we really require as Nairobians? Let me have a look at his resume, just a little bit. This Jubilee Party candidate and also former Deputy Governor of Nairobi, Paul Kapigathe, has a well-decorated and very enviable career profile, if I may say that. When I look at some of the high-ranking positions that he has held, before that, he's a Bachelor of Arts degree graduate in economics and sociology from the University of Nairobi. So that's his education background as far as matters of academia as concerned. His work experience dates back to 2003 when he worked for Tiger Brands, a South African brand that deals in packaged goods. Here, I see he rose through the ranks, worked in various positions, including being the company's East Africa Managing Director. So at which point he sold pens at a kiosk or beer at a bar, I am not aware. All I know is that was all matters of campaigning and trying to put himself in a good position in the face of, or in the hearts of Nairobians. I don't think that's his work experience. However, more that he has done, including dealing in petroleum products and also a licensee of Shell in Africa. That's when he was managing director at Vivo Energy. In 2017, he was then picked by Mike Sonko as his running mate in the Nairobi gubernatorial elections. They won, by the way, and beating Evans Kidero at that, who was the incumbent at that time. However, his tenure didn't last long as he resigned with only 4 months into the term in January 2018, saying that he fell on his sword because he couldn't just go to the office, read newspapers, and hang his coat. However, he's back now, requiring that, he's freshly elected into the position of Governor, Nairobi County. And this is just right after being appointed as Equity Bank's Chief Commercial Officer in May 2018. Igathe later had another stint with Vivo Energy, this time as the Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Is that the style of leadership that Nairobi needs? Do we need a shift from politics a bit into executive decisions that are made in companies and corporates? Is that the kind of leadership that we want in Nairobi? He says the first thing that he's going to do is ban NMS, which is the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, which is in control of the Nairobi County and the metropolitan region in terms of development, infrastructure, and handling most of the economic activity, but still under Governor Anne Kananu, who is the current governor of Nairobi County. Do we need Paul Kapigathe or Nairobians, for those who are residents of Nairobi County, more than 4 million of you? Tell me what your thoughts are as we have a look at Johnson Arthur Sakaja and what he had to present after arriving more than an hour later than when Paul Kapigathe was already at that debate. Let's have a look.
What separates you from your top competitor for the governor position?
Well, Paul Kapigathe is a great man. He's a friend of mine. We've been in Jubilee together. We've campaigned together. I think what separates us is the heart to work for the people. He's had a career in the corporate sector. I've had a career in public service and in leadership. The problems this county has, the challenges in our city, the issues we need to deal with, need solid political leadership, and that is what I know.
Naam, swala la maadili katika uongozi lina umuhimu gani katika siasa zako, katika kampeni yako, katika mchakato huu mzima wa kuwania kiti cha ugavana katika kaunti ya Nairobi?
Swala za maadili ni muhimu sana, kwa sababu kiongozi sio tu yale ambayo unasema ama yale ambayo unazo kama fikra, ni yale ambayo unafanya. Integrity is extremely important, na mimi nazingatia masuala yote ya maadili. I think integrity defines who you are. And it's not about who you are in public, but also who you are in private. And that's what defines a leader, because as a leader, your work is to set a good example. Your work is to show, the community and the society where to go to. And so, of course, integrity is not perfection. Integrity is not pontification. Integrity is not saying that you'll never make any mistake. Integrity is taking responsibility. And integrity is being able to stand up and say, yes, on this I am right, and yes, on this I am wrong. That is integrity.
You speak about abiding, and part of the requirement for governor is the competence and the credentials.
Yes.
Do you believe that it is important for someone running for governor to have a degree?
It's not just important, it's a requirement by our constitution.
Do you have a degree?
That's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I've been gazetted. I do have all the qualifications required to run for governor of Nairobi, and on top of a degree, beyond just the academic qualifications, I have the competence, the character, I have the will and the experience to lead this county of Nairobi.
Why is it so contested?
Because as I've said, the head starts being sought include that. I think, and I feel bad for my opponent because majority, or rather the biggest part that his team has been relying on was not to have me on the ballot. I'm glad I heard he said, because I've been around, I've been in this complex and listening, saying that, you know, he wants me on the ballot. I'm glad he said that, but many of his political benefactors do not want me on the ballot because they know the effect of that. I do have a degree from Team University. I presented it on the 6th of last month to the competent authority, which is the Commission for University Education. After that, it was presented to the counterpart commission in the, in our neighboring country. They verified it. Many people have said that I'm trying hard to prove that I have one. Actually, it's my detractors trying hard to prove that I don't have one. Now, this issue is before the court, and you know the reason I sympathize is that if my opponent and his team focused on going to the people, then they would stop looking for solace in the courts. I have it. In fact, I would want to display it today to all of you to see. I don't know how you'll verify it, but the competent authorities and institutions that have to, verify it have actually said it is.
All right, those were just a few of Johnson Sakaja's submissions. Earlier, Polycarp Igathe had said that one of the other things that he's going to make sure that he's doing away with is the issue of cartels. However, according to Johnson Sakaja, cartel is a weak excuse by politicians who fail to master the courage to deal with corruption. If you know them, name them. So now the UDA candidate is further claiming, that is Johnson Sakaja, that Igathe was already being funded by shadowy figures insisting that he will table the evidence today on Twitter, on his Twitter account, July 12th. I'm going to hold him to his word. I'll make sure I check his Twitter account to see what are these claims, who's funding Polycarp Igathe. On his side, Polycarp Igathe as well responded by saying that he will file his own evidence on false documents that were allegedly signed by the candidates. Let's have a look at his part. On Johnson Sakaja's part, his academic journey has been characterized by controversy and confusion, to say the very least. He was a student at the University of Nairobi, but now claims that he did not graduate where he studied actuarial science. However, did not graduate because he admits he did lack fees. However, insists that he has a degree from Team University in Uganda. Well, while the Commission for University Education has already revoked this degree, IEBC has upheld its decision to still clear the senator to become the candidate for UDA in the governor race. About his career, Sakaja started back thrust into politics in 2007 general elections, where he was involved in a campaign called Vijana na Kibaki, a youth league that was supporting President Mwai Kibaki's campaign at that time. This, of course, allowed him to later be able to be appointed as the chairman of the National Alliance, TNA party, which also thrust or propelled President Uhuru Kenyatta to power in 2013, who later be nominated as Member of Parliament for the 11th Parliament. And in 2017, Sakaja ventured into elective politics, where he successfully ran for the Nairobi Senate seat on the Jubilee Party right about now. He also served as the chairperson of the Committee of Labour and Social Welfare. So that's his career so far. What do they have to say in matters of business? How exactly are they going to solve issues of revenue allocation, also revenue collection all over Nairobi? We're going to have a look at that and also get your feedback as well on social media. So do tell us that at KUTV Kenya and also at Richard_Okenye.
Wacha tuangalie siasa safi ni nini. Mwaka uliopita taifa la Kenya, the amount of money, pesa ambazo walituma kwa serikali gatuzi kutoka kwa serikali ya kitaifa was 370 billion shillings. 370 billion, Nairobi ilipata 19 billion. 5% only ndio ilikuja Nairobi. Nairobi, wapiga kura Nairobi ni 11% ya tuko 2.4 million out of 2.4 million voters out of 22 million voters in the country. Now, Nairobi contributes 2.2 trillion wame collect Kenya Revenue Authority. 60% ya hiyo 2.2 trillion imetoka kwa viwanda na wafanyi biashara hapa Nairobi. How does somebody contribute 60% of revenue and you only share 5% back? Na hiyo siasa safi ndio seneta wetu amefanya katika Senate. Kazi ya seneta ni kutuombea pesa. Ametuombea tu 5%. Alienda huko kufanya kazi ya county zingine. Hapa ndio sababu Nairobi hamna mashule. Tuna nasari pengine 211. Tuko na health centers kidogo sana, da dispensary. Na ndipo njaa na umaskini umekithiri hapa kwa sababu watu hawajui Nairobi is unaffected and a very poor country.
Muda wako umekwisha.
A very poor county.
Muda wako umekwisha.
That is not siasa safi.
Bwana Sekaja ameuliza umetetea vipi county ya Nairobi ulipokuwa seneta katika kipindi hiki cha takriban miaka 5. Je, kweli umewajibika kama seneta wa county ya Nairobi?
Zaidi ya wote wengine ambao walichaguliwa kama maseneta. Ukiangalia utafiti ambao umefanywa kwa miaka 3 ambayo imepita, for the last 3 years running, I've been rated the best performing senator in the Republic of Kenya. I brought more bills, more motions, more questions about the county administration of Nairobi than any other senator, and you can check. I can see you have laptops. You can check that. On top of that, the work of the senator is to bring resources to the county. When I became senator for Nairobi, Nairobi was receiving 15 billion. I'm living with it 3.3 billion higher at 19 billion. That is actually understanding your assignment and prosecuting it the way you need to. So I brought that money. In fact, naturally, it will take more than 10-15 years in terms of cycles of devolution to get to an increase of 3.3 billion.
Something Igade says isn't quite enough, even though you've gotten it to 19 billion. Something he says isn't enough, given the contribution of the capital to the rest of the nation.
Now, if you understand the framework of devolution under our constitution, fiscal decentralization has what we call the horizontal division of revenue. In that horizontal division of revenue, you have a county allocation of revenue bill, where you divide the amount that is given amongst the counties. So of course there is a ceiling of what has been given to all counties. What I have fought for is the fair share for Nairobi City County, which remains to be the highest, and over and above what any other county gets.
Igade, you have a response on that?
I don't know how much is enough.
What Senator ensured persisted in this country is a philosophy that is unsustainable. That you take from people according to their needs and give to others according to their ability and give to others according to their need. Nairobi is a very needy county. And the criticism I'm proffering here and submitting to him is that as senator, what did you do to help Nairobi overcome the hunger, the deprivation, the desperation in the informal settlements? Did you bring that matter to Senate? Did you make people understand that case? Instead, what we saw, he was a leader of a group called Team Kenya that even removed incentives for county to generate their own revenue. We used to get 1% extra if you generate your own source revenue. Like Nairobi is only generating 9. This is going to do about 9 billion of its own revenue. So the the CRA, Commission for Revenue Allocation, was giving us brownie points as a county if you collect your own revenue and you don't rely on the national government. And these are some of the things he did not protect as our senator. So how does somebody fail or does not succeed in their task and then you give him the job of governor?
Na ulifeli katika kutetea na kulinda rasilimali za kaunti ya Nairobi, na ukiwa seneta kwa takriban miaka 5 ambao umekuwa katika uongozi, umeweka mikakati gani kudhibiti na kuimarisha ukusanyaji wa mapato katika kaunti ya Nairobi ambayo yameonekana kudidimia?
19 billion from 15 billion is success. It's an improvement. In fact, if I succumbed to the sloganeering that my worthy competitor is talking about, which in fact his argument is the best case to show that education does not necessarily equate to intelligence. Because if I bring a box and tell you this is 1 man 1 shilling and it's 1,000 bob to you, and inside it's 500 shillings, would you accept it? What they were offering Nairobi Polycarp was 134 million shillings more. I refused with my team Kenya. I said Nairobi has the depth of poverty, that urban poverty bites harder than rural poverty, that you have nothing in this city, you'll have nothing to eat, you'll have nowhere to stay. And I refused that 135 million shillings and got 3.35 billion shillings for the people of Nairobi. If I was just to fall for the empty slogan, Nairobi would still be at 15.8 billion shillings today. So I'm very proud, and I'm proud of all my members, because not only did I secure that for Nairobi, I showed this country that there is no Kenya A and Kenya B. There's no second-class county in a first-class country. And I stand my ground that we must be patriotic. Even as we're in Nairobi, we have people from all across the country. On top of that, I can list you the bills. I brought the startup bill. I brought the prompt payment bill. I brought the National Disaster Management Authority bill in the Senate. I have fought for Uber drivers, who, Taxify and all digital hailing apps. I have spoken about the demolitions and even stopped demolitions that are going further. I have done a lot. In fact, if you gave me maybe an hour or so to just list the things I've done in the Senate, and I hope the next Senator of Nairobi will be able to fill in those big shoes,
that response,
because
is
it is work that we've done.
Let's push on with that aspect then. On, you talk about not having enough funds allocated to Nairobi given its place in the nation. However, there is the issue of not being able to actually get the potential revenue that it can get owing to the cartels in the city, which have been a thorn in the flesh of the administration, but it can be argued also fostered by the leadership. What will you do to get rid or deal with the cartels? Igade, you have a minute and a half.
Thank you very much for that question. Nairobi collects, for sure, way above 200 million shillings every day. But what ends up in Nairobi coffers is around and about roughly 40 million a day. So over 160 million shillings is lost every day. That's the fact. We've had a senator whose work is also oversight. And Senator Sakaja, you had a chance to be seen in this country oversighting the county of Nairobi. When push came to shove and the impeachment question came to the floor of Senate, it's up to Kenyans to see how you voted. Not only did you did not even take a decision, you abstained. You walked away from the conversation. We have not seen you. Nairobi County employees, in fact, we have to apologize to them. They do unbelievable. Their salaries are delayed. Their remittances are delayed. The Auditor General's report about Nairobi City County is that Nairobi City County's close has a debt of over 80 billion now. That is what it has been given an adverse opinion. But have we ever heard once our senator speak about it? And that's why I'm saying the oversight role he did not do very well, and he actually did not succeed in that oversight role. But the cartels we will deal with, because we have the numbers and we know who they are, and you have seen them even in the campaign season trying to fight and hide behind
muda wako umekwisha. Bwana Sakaja, una muda wa dakika moja unusu kujibu.
I'm actually quite tickled that Polycarp Igade can talk about push coming to shove and me not making a decision. Before even push came to shove, in like 4 or 5 months, Polycarp Igade quit on the people of Nairobi. In fact, that should have come in the question of integrity. Because when you talk about public trust, chapter 6, at the expense of private convenience, that is the question that we must answer.
It did come up before you, right?
The question on impeachment. Governor Sonko will not be facing an impeachment if you're stuck in office. In fact, if you're stuck in office, you probably would have been the incumbent governor. If you're stuck in office, there'd be no NMS in Nairobi. The reason we have an NMS in Nairobi is after Polycarp Igade could not wait or stand the heat in the kitchen, he ran away in less than 6 months. This city needs resilience. You need to be tough. You cannot say that you have betrayed 800 and I think, how many votes did you guys get? 40 or something thousand votes, 840,000 votes, because you could not get the trust of one individual, yet 1 million Nairobians have given you the public trust. When push has come to shove, look at the Senate answered. I have spoken more times than any senator. I have raised more questions in the Senate than any other senator. In fact, I have taken the former Governor Sonko to court on the action he took on matatus. The record is clear. This county needs a political manager who understands how to deal with the leaders and how to deal with the issues of the people, but has a thick skill. In fact, if half of the tribulations I'm facing right now in my bid were on Polycarp, Azimio would have no candidate. But I have stood.
Your time is out. You've stood. You ran off.
He'd have quit.
Integrity. I define integrity.
Right, various issues, of course, are being raised there, from competency to integrity, as well as their roles previously before coming to this race of the gubernatorial. The governors, of course, trying to become the top of leadership in the capital city. 4.3 million residents of Nairobi and 2.4 plus million voters are expected to vote in Nairobi County. And various issues that have been mentioned there. I'm going to have a look at what Kenyans are saying, including one Kenyan number one being Polycarp Igathe, of course, having said there on Twitter that how can Nairobi County be contributing 60% to the country's capital and only get 5% of the budget. Hiyo ni siasa safi kweli, of course, and now we've heard there, of course, Sakaja saying that he did fight for Nairobi to get more than 135 million, push it all the way to 3 billion or so, and that was allocated to Nairobi. However, Polycarp Igathe asking what did he do to help Nairobi overcome hunger and poverty, yet he failed to get resources for the county. Now, there, of course, Sakaja saying that Nairobi does need a political leader who has tough skin, and others saying that Polycarp Igathe, coming from the corporate world and from the boardroom, should be the effective leader of Nairobi County. Here, Richard Sarati on Twitter anasema, so in the boardrooms, one has to be inept and have no touch with reality outside. Lame excuse for apparent incompetence. Nairobi should never repeat the Kidero mistake. Remember, Kidero also did come from the boardroom or from the corporate world before he ascended to leadership of Nairobi County. Samuel Ogor anasema hapa timu Wanyonyi angekuwa anabeba kila kitu. Sakaja ameshinda na ameharamiwa. Where that is his thoughts on Nairobi governor debate 2022. Personally, I think in terms of politics, Sakaja won. In terms of policies, Igathe won. So politics versus policies, but I can't wait for this political season to end. That is sentiments by one Big Sam there on Twitter. More here, Mandela Rono anasema the entire Azimio brigade is disappointed in Igathe, but they would not dare say that. I don't know what are the thoughts of one Mtoto wa Mariam who you are jointly watching this debate yesterday night. I'd love to know what he thinks of this sort of debate. However, thank you. That is Mandela Rono over there. After the Nairobi governor debate, Mzungu Ndenge anasema which it was devoid of ideological contours. At least Polycarp and Sakaja embraced each other with apparent good cheer. This last outcome, mutual respect for the result, is the one which concerns Kenyans the most. Of course, ensuring that still do not divide Kenyans as they try and battle out their policies and politics. Raila Odinga will overwhelmingly win in Nairobi County. Of course, there we did see Polycarp Igathe mentioning Raila Odinga, who is the leader of Azimio la Umoja Kenya Coalition. Of course, over the other side, Johnson Sakaja representing DP Ruto under the UDA banner. Why is there panic if Sakaja wins Nairobi gubernatorial seat for the Jubilee team, more so the so-called deep state? Just let the two meet kwa debe in peace. Don't waste this opportunity. Make sure you're voting wisely for your Nairobi governor. How will you solve the water problem? Nduru Man is asking. Of course, this morning we did mention, as I was beginning the show, that water bill in Nairobi is expected to rise by more than 40%. And this is the aim of Nairobi Water and Sewage Company to pay loans and also to rebuild infrastructure. Next, we need Waihiga Mwaura and Mashirima Kampombe on the next debates. Hawa walituangusha. So, right, that is Gishau Githinji there on Twitter. More, of course, we are going to read on whatever else you guys think about that debate. However, Do continue interacting with us on social media at KUTV Kenya. Those are some of the few things you could have a look at from that debate that went down yesterday night. More is coming. Of course, the presidential debate series just kicked off with the Nairobi gubernatorial debate. More is coming up. Running mates of various coalitions for the presidential candidates as well. That is expected to happen. The UDS side, or Kenya Kwanza side, led by DP Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, had already initially mentioned that they will be avoiding this debate. We'll wait to see where they show up late or where they do show up. However, give me what your thoughts are so far as we take a look at mtaani, business pale mtaani, economy ya mtaa. That is something that we have for you right about now, and then we'll be right back on matters of #Biashara Tuesday.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits. The road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane. Keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Tunaambiwa kwamba mwanadamu anafariki. Je, kufa kwake kuna kuaje? Anakufa vipi? Ni nani anayemuua, anayetoa roho? Na kitolewa roho kwa sababu kiwiliwili kiko pale, hiyo roho huwa inaenda wapi? Au kunafanyika nini hasa? Kwa ni swali la msingi sana, na tutajaribu kiasi Mwenyezi Mungu atakavyotuwezesha tuweze kumjibu swali kama hili inshallah biidhnillah.
Technology has infiltrated many sectors, one of them being medicine. With me is Daniel Kimani, the CEO and founder of Hospital that connects healthcare providers with the underserved in the society.
So if you look at Hospital at current state is, we can say we are just starting at what we have in mind. We are building a virtual hospital for doctors. We are trying to bring that physical hospital to the doctor side, like the moment doctor enter a hospital, the moment they leave. We give you a chance to upload the report to our platform, then assign it to a doctor. We give you the capability of personalizing a doctor. I want to be getting ex-doctor for the rest of my services.
Things you know are right. Nothing worth the gain you attain by sudden fear. Don't you know that I still care for you? Reflect on got me needing more and more of you. Gonna be the one to catch you.
Far East, welcome to the empire. Far East, we call it find true love. You will see what your love has done for me.
Sasa ni bora zaidi, mwanzo mpya, mambo mapya. Msimu mwingine wa Boresha Kilimo unakuletea teknolojia ibuka, kilimo mseto, uongezaji thamani. Teknolojia dijitali ya mauzo inawezesha ufikiaji wa masoko. Sokomoko yako, mahangaiko yako ya kufikia masoko yamefika kikomo, manake tunao Mkulima Yangu.
What Mkulima Yangu does is it connects farmers with the market.
Hii ni Boresha Kilimo kwa ushirikiano na Mkulima Yangu. Atafutaye hachoki na kichoka kesha pata. kwa makala maalum ya kilimo. Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 6:30 kwenye kipindi ukipendacho Boresha Kilimo.
All right, welcome back to Biashara Tuesday. Of course, we are continuing with matters of business and also as well taking a look at what went down yesterday night in the gubernatorial debate, kicking off the presidential debate series of 2022. In that Nairobi governors debate, the citizens are reacting all over social media and as well as, of course, in various stations right about now. We're having a look at that. And do you think, of course, who will be the better candidate of the two front runners? There are 7 others, by the way, just to ensure that you know you have more options. For those who showed up yesterday, 7 candidates had been invited, but only 4 did show up in the first tier, having Polycarp Igathe and Senator Sakaja. And there are others who did show up, including independent candidate Esther Waringa, UPA's Kenneth Nyamwamu, Usawa kwa wote parties Nancy Mwadime, and Safina's Haman Grewal. They did give their various opinions on how they will handle the major issues of Nairobi: corruption, NMS, transport and housing, garbage, business. How are they going to handle some of these things? Interestingly, I did see here that UPA's Nyamwamu, he said he will adopt George Wajakoya's approach in handling corruption. According to him, both national and county government have not been serious in fighting or handling the vice of corruption that has seen cartels run down public resources in the county. We've seen what Senator Sakaja has answered as of issues of cartels. Polycarp Igathe as well. Of course, having a look at politics versus policies. Do we have a leader who is well-versed in matters of politics, or do we have one who is well-versed in matters of policy? Waweru Gatehi has a concern in how late the aspirant from UDA's side, Johnson Sakaja, was saying that citizens we are treated with contempt by a late aspirant that shows the voters how he does not care. Of course, here also saying that Mama Mboga si mjinga, ukichelewa kupata customer, utalala njaa. Make your choices wisely. That is what George is saying there on Twitter. How many jobs are they saying they will offer Nairobians? Vance Keep anasema, as an employed youth, and as an employed youth, what I care about is how my economic status is going to change. Thank you for your feedback, Vance pale on Twitter. More we are seeing here, of course, as we saw yesterday, in terms of bad attitudes from the Nairobi gubernatorial candidates, will be carried along in office if they are elected to power. That is a sentiment coming from Zach Kinuthia, who's also CAS and Kigumo MP candidate. Igathe has only one hope in winning the election: Raila supporters. That's why he kept on calling his name, Babake Ivan. Those are some of the few comments we are getting here. Eti Sakaja alisoma lakini hakumaliza. Igathe alimaliza lakini hakusoma. That is Strong Mind 1100 pale on Twitter. Continue giving us your feedback on what you think about that debate that went down, of course, especially on the front runners and how they will handle matters in Nairobi County. Elsewhere, we have a look at World Health Organization, and in conjunction with Kenyatta University. President Uhuru Kenyatta launched the construction of the World Health Organization African Regional Operations and Logistics Hubs at the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital in Kiambu County. Speaking at the ceremony, President Kenyatta welcomed WHO's decision to put up the emergency hub right here in Kenya.
Kenya is one of the 3 African countries selected by the WHO to host a logistics hub that will be equipped with emergency medical personnel, commodities, and equipment to support countries with emergencies in Eastern Africa. President Kenyatta commended the body for the launch of the new innovative initiative to improve the capacities of African countries to respond in real time to increasingly numerous and complex health emergencies.
We are here to break ground for the World Health Organization Africa Regional Operations and Logistic Hub, which indeed is a historic moment for our country and indeed for the entire Eastern and Southern African region. I feel very compelled to commence my remarks by expressing our and my personal sincere gratitude to Dr. Tedros, the Director General of the World Health Organization.
The president said the government has allocated 30 acres of land adjacent to Kenyatta University Teaching Referral Hospital and committed $5 million towards operation of the hub. He also provided WHO with rent-free office space at the hospital's premises to accommodate the initial staff component of up to 150 officers needed to start preparations for the establishment of the hub.
As has been stated, and to facilitate the commencement of these operations of the hub, the government and the people of Kenya have, in addition to allocating 30 acres of land, I speak acres, this man speaks hectares. It's exactly the same. Adjacent to the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, we have also committed $5 million towards operationalization of this hub.
Earlier on, President Kenyatta inaugurated a cath lab at the hospital, saying that the facility adds to the growing complement of health service delivery in public hospitals. The Referral Hospital Board Chair, Professor Olive Mugenda, thanked President Kenyatta for being instrumental in the development of the regional hospital. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros said the construction of the Emergency Logistics Hub and Center of Excellence marks Kenya's continued partnership with his organization and the United Nations in general. Tracy Nganga for KU TV.
Further, President Uhuru Kenyatta has underscored the importance of well-trained health workers in the delivery of the universal health coverage pillar of the Big Four agenda. Uhuru made the sentiments during the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the AMREF International University campus at Ruiru Northlands in Kiambu County.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has emphasized that skilled human resource is a key building block in the health system that will not be overlooked in catering for the country's health needs. The head of state was speaking as he presided over the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the AMREF International University campus at the Ruiru Northlands in Kiambu County.
We're here talking about training young men and women from Kenya and Africa who will be at the vanguard of utilizing and working in these different facilities.
President Kenyatta commended the AMREF International University fraternity for its ambitious expansion plan to scale up training for health workers in Kenya and across the continent. He noted that Africa faces an acute shortage of health workers compared to other regions, despite the continent having 25% of the world's illness burden, according to the World Health Organization estimates.
This large deficit has created a pressing need for at least 1 million community health workers, 350,000 midwives in sub-Saharan Africa, just to achieve the critical minimum levels.
Health CS Mutahi Kagwe said AMREF has been a key partner to the continent quest to formulate a new curriculum for training health workers, noting that the new institution will be crucial in enhancing the organization's capacity to offer quality training to health practitioners.
Through the cooperation of AMREF, which funded it to an extent, and the universities who are here, including Dr. Gethenji from the University of Nairobi and the other universities, we have gone a long way in preparation of a new curriculum for how we are going to train all our health workers.
World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said his organization fully supports AMREF in its endeavors to construct another training institution for medical practitioners, saying the 65 years of AMREF service to African countries have tremendously impacted the continent's healthcare sector. Amref Health Africa CEO Dr. Gitahi Githinji said the Amref International University looks forward to being awarded a charter to enable it to train more health workers. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Now elsewhere, child rights defenders are concerned about the increasing incidences of child involvement in political rallies during the one-week holiday. Elsewhere, the Kipsigis Council of Elders has opposed the categorization of Kericho County as one of the hotspot counties in the incoming general elections. This and more as we scan through various reports in the counties compiled by Joyce Masharia.
As campaigns gain momentum, children rights defenders are concerned about the increasing incidences of children involvement in political rallies during this one-week holiday where schools closed for term 2. Emily Kimanzi, Machakos Sub-County Children's Officer, condemned this act, saying that it's very risky and that it is abuse which undermines children's rights. She urged parents and teachers to ensure that children remain at home or in school for their safety.
I think for me, the Children's Act imetosha, even the Constitution. Anybody below 18 years, kuna mambo hastahili kuhusishwa nayo. Hawana votes. Yeah? Let children be children. The Constitution is very clear about issues of child participation. Tafadhali wazazi tusaidieni. Walimu tusaidieni.
Elsewhere in Kericho, the Kipsigis Council of Elders has opposed the categorization of Kericho County as one of the hotspot counties in the incoming general elections. The council, which met in Kericho town, led by its chairman Reverend Paul Leleito, called on leaders to always preach peace during their campaigns as the country heads for polls. He added that the communities in Kericho are living peacefully and does not have any plans for indulging in violence.
Tumekutana kama wazee tukiongea pamoja, na baadhi ya mambo ambayo tumeongea juu yao ni mambo ya uchaguzi ujao katika mwezi wa 8, na kitu ambacho tumehimiza ni wito, tumetoa wito kama wazee kwamba hii uchaguzi uwe na amani. Tufanye mkutano yetu ya siasa kwa amani, na siku ya kuchagua viongozi wetu tuchague viongozi kwa amani.
And over to Kisii County, where South Mugirango residents have protested over alleged biased recruitment of clerks by the electoral board in their area. The protesters accused IEBC of irregularly conducting the exercise of the officials to man the elections and called for inclusivity. They further claimed that the area returning officer had displayed signs of being compromised by holding secret meetings with a particular election candidate over the recruitment.
Why was the interview done in phases, the last one being 1 week after the first one was done? What was this being reorganized when it was post? Number 4, why does the returning officer hold meetings with one particular candidate out of the designated official working places and at odd hours? Disclaimer that we as the people of South Mugirango and citizens of Kenya are not violent, nor do we intend to interfere with the mandate of the IEBC.
Responding to the complaints, Constituency Returning Officer Nixon Nyamoya explained shortlisting and interviews were on before successful candidates, including those in the databank, were picked for the job.
For us, we recruit from the database that we've been given from headquarters. So whoever who applied to be recruited in South Mugirango and meets the qualification, I lead to interview. Okay? We recruit from the database. Recruitment on clannism. I believe we recruited people from every corner of this constituency.
Joyce Masharia with the county scoop for KUTV.
All right, so Kenyatta University did receive a grant from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to establish Women's Economic Empowerment, or the KU We Hub. And this project aims to ensure that interested parties such as ministries, departments, county governments, all of them are utilizing policy evidence to shape policies, programs, interventions that relate to supporting women's economic empowerment in Kenya. So just a few days ago, KU Hub did hold a conference, the Initiative for What Works for Women's Economic Empowerment, and this is aimed at building programs and policy evidence on what works to advance women's economic empowerment here in Kenya. This being an empowerment hub that is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We did air this live here on KUTV Kenya. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation did send a representative to have something to say towards this building programs and policy evidence for what works for women empowerment in Kenya. Let's have a look at that and see if it works. Give us your feedback, and then we'll have a look at it right after the speech.
To be part of Kenyatta University's Research Dissemination Forum. On my own behalf and that of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I commend the organizers and all of you who have found the time to join both physically and virtually. For over 20 years, the Foundation has been committed to lessening inequities globally. The empowerment of women and girls is therefore at the center of our mission of creating a world where every person has the opportunity to live a healthy, productive life. The Foundation's Gender Equality Division funds some of the most impactful advocates and programs working to ensure women and girls in Africa and South Asia can enjoy good health, make their own choices, earn their own money, and be leaders in their societies. Our goal is for women and their families to lead their lives with agency, to know they're fully valued by their communities. When women and girls have an equal chance to thrive and lead, everybody benefits. Every one of the world's 3.9 billion women and girls is worthy of opportunity, health, and dignity. They deserve to make their own choices, earn their and manage their own money, and sit at decision-making tables. We believe that not only as a matter of principle, but we also endorse it as a matter of policy. Because when the lives of individual women improve, the communities around them improve too. Further, we believe that the solutions to Africa's greatest challenges can come from within Africa, and therefore support African partners whose bold ideas and creative approaches have the potential to save lives, improve health, and help families all across the continent. We work to increase women's opportunity and decision-making power. There's an extensive body of research showing that when women have access to and control over their money, such as savings account or loan, children are more likely to attend school, their families are healthier, their self-worth improves, and their household income grows, along with the global economy. Our women's economic empowerment work focuses on increasing women's power and influence by removing barriers to work, enabling decent work, and supporting women's enterprises. We aim to set up women and girls to thrive in the economy today and tomorrow. The theme of this conference, therefore, is aligned with what the Foundation believes, and this work is an important component of a larger movement of grantees and partners around Kenya that are connecting the evidence with policy and funding change in support of gender equality. We hope that the strength and depth of knowledge generated through this conference, KU Hub, and indeed all the other partners in Kenya and the region, will help expedite women's economic empowerment and get us a step closer to our vision of a world where women and girls live healthy, productive lives free from discrimination. Thank you.
Right. Of course, now those being a few sentiments coming there from a representative of Bill and Melinda Gates, I've just had a look at some of the outcomes envisaged to be achieved via the application of evidence which will be generated through the KU Hub. One of those here of interest being that sexual and gender-based violence prevalence will be reduced by 50% by 2025. However, in matters of economics, increasing of transferable skills to 20% girls and women, and this transited to work by 2025. Exposure of more or 20% women and girls to apprenticeship and mentorship programs enhanced to enhance their work readiness by 2025. A proportion of women-owned and managed enterprises within the manufacturing industry will be increased by 30% as of 2025. So those are some of the things that they're going to have a look at. A new gender-responsive budgeting tool developed and shared by the KUE Hub and shared with stakeholders by 2025. So many other of this agenda. You can have a look at the Kenyatta University website as well to see what are these primary outcomes they are envisaging to happen through the KUE Hub. Now, CAS of Energy, the Energy Ministry, was also in attendance at this forum, which happened live at Kenyatta University, live streamed here, as we said. So let's have a look at what also she had to say, and then we'll be back.
I'm part of Kenyatta University's Research Dissemination Forum. On my own behalf and that of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I commend the organizers and all of you who have found the time to join both physically and virtually. For over 20 years, the foundation has been committed to lessening...
So we'll be getting those remarks by the CS of Energy, just a little technical issue, and then we'll be bringing that to you in a few. Of course, going to speak about a lot of things, including enhancing skills for economic self-improvement, which we're really keen on ensuring that all of us, including women, are getting those skills for self-empowerment in this economy. Let's take a break, a breather, and then we'll be back with more of those. Still, hashtag Biashara Tuesday on air. Interact with us and give us your feedback, and then we'll read it when we are back from this break.
I see there's a trend of not having that discipleship, because when people get to the top, it's so hard for them to, like, you know, pick the rest up.
Yeah.
So that's how it should be, because you should have at least someone, a baby in the industry, whereby they can be accountable to you in faith.
Yes.
So that way we maintain the gospel industry.
What's the most daring thing you've ever done?
Daring thing?
Yes, something that you did and was like, oh, did I just do that? Have you had one of those?
I don't think, Nishai. Daring.
Imagine living in a society that embraces social justice and equal opportunities for all. On Woman Crush Wednesday, Rise Today, we bring you experts for meaningful conversations on matters gender equality.
Mimi nasaona hakuna gender equality as we speak.
So we continuously work with the men.
I feel that they're judging the girl. Parenthood.
Mind is very important in infertility.
Mental and physical health.
You need to be surrounded by a proper network.
After nimeanza healing process, nilikumbuka kuhusu boys na wase wenye niliacha ghetto. Like, kila wakati nilikuwa najaribu kutafuta mbinu yenye naweza wafikishie ujumbe.
I feel like if you have 15 minutes, if you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever amount of time, use it, because any physical activity is beneficial. No physical activity is dangerous for you.
And we touch on current affairs.
Marrying is a journey. It means you're taking a journey together.
I'm dying to be different. Changamoto ziko, but you can't sit there saying, oh, mimi nitafanya mziki siku yenye dozi takam.
You look at this person and you're like, wow, they just woke up and they found themselves here.
Join us every Wednesday morning at 7 to 10 a.m. here on Rise Today Woman Crush Wednesday. I am your host, Nina Gikunda.
Technology has infiltrated many sectors, one of them being medicine. With me is Daniel Kimani, the CEO and founder of Hospital that connects healthcare providers with the underserved in the society.
So if you look at a hospital at current state, is we can say we are just starting at what we have in mind. We are building a virtual hospital for doctors. We are trying to bring that physical hospital to the doctor side, like the moment doctor enter a hospital, the moment they leave. We give you a chance to upload the report to our platform, then assign it to a doctor. we give you the capability of personalizing a doctor. I want to be getting X doctor for the rest of my services.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Sasa ni bora zaidi. Mwanzo mpya, mambo mapya. Msimu mwingine wa Boresha Kilimo unakuletea teknolojia ibuka, kilimo mseto, uongezaji thamani. Teknolojia dijitali ya mauzo inawezesha ufikiaji wa masoko. Soko moko yako, mahangaiko yako ya kufikia masoko yamefika kikomo, manake tunao Mkulima Yangu.
What Mkulima Yangu does is it connects farmers with the market.
Hii ni Boresha Kilimo kwa ushirikiano na Mkulima Yangu. Atafutaye hachoki na kichoka kesha pata. Kwa makala maalum ya kilimo, ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 6:30 kwenye kipindi ukipendacho Boresha Kilimo.
Biashara Tuesday, Biashara Tuesday, still on air on Twitter. Continue interacting with us. Naona pale watu kadhaa also on that platform, kama Eugene Shikamaru. Eugene Shikamaru, I'd have loved to know where you're watching us from. Young Cash Brown KE. Stevie Mwanza from Nakuru. Ochot Odong watching us from Kisii as well. Mr. Saindi and the Big Steppers watching us from Juja. I love such interesting names on social media platforms. Do tell us what you think about the Nairobi gubernatorial debate that happened yesterday night. Who's the better candidate for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat? That is between the front runners, Johnson Sakaja and Polycarp Igathe. However, there are 5 other candidates that you can choose from, and tell us also if you watched the second tier of the Nairobi gubernatorial debate. You definitely did see 4 of them there as well, so you can tell us what you thought and what are some of the policies that were of interest to you. However, right about now, let's have a look at something of interest that happened over in June. And the Kenyatta University School of Business has held 3 successful international conferences with a robust industrial and international participation. The International Business Research and Industrial Conference, or famously known as IBRIC, is an opportunity for academia, researchers, industry, and government players to come together and discuss their work of which are interest and development in their fields. Now, in response to some of these issues, the School of Business in Kenyatta University, in collaboration with various partnerships and stakeholders from academia, as I said, research, industry, and government, both local and international, organized a virtual conference. And this IBRIC conference happened in June of 23rd and June 24th, whose theme and sub-themes were in line with trying to solve recurrent societal problems like healthcare, security, and livelihoods as well. So we have a few of those things that happened over there. Gonna take a look at that and then also come back and discuss that on Biashara Tuesday. So let's have a look.
So that works.
Dr. Nzuki, can you hear me?
Yes, you are. You're audible.
Thank you so much for your patience. My name is Ken Mwenda, as has been mentioned. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. And on behalf of the entire Immobilis fraternity and the Ajira Digital fraternity and stakeholders, we're so pleased to be sponsoring and to be here as a presenter and as a panelist. AJIRA comprises, as you may know, the Ministry of ICT and Youth Affairs, whose baby this is. We're just helping to implement. We work very closely with KEPSA as the private sector, and to ensure that there's off-takers and that there's job linkages and that there's a portal that facilitates and supports this very innovative program. So it's very apt, actually, that we're presenting about innovation, sustainability, and it was great to hear what Dr. Adoyo had to say. I really loved the comments that you made, and hopefully we can tie this all together with some of what we'll be presenting today. I would like to, in the interest of time, begin with the slides, and we can run through those, beginning with this first one. So, by the way, we would also very much like to thank Kenyatta University and School of Business for taking lead on this and spearheading this extremely valuable forum for academia, for private sector, for government to come together to share best practices, learn from each other, and be able to understand what more can be done to anchor and to catalyze further growth of the innovation and the business and the startup ecosystem. So this is a great idea. We commend you, and hats off to you for coordinating such a session. So let me go to my first slide. Yeah, what we thought we would mention is just innovation in the Kenyan context, and just make sure that we're defining terms so that we're all on the same page. According to ISO 56000 for the 2020, innovation can be defined as new or changed entities, realizing or redistributing value. A lot of times people assume just tech or assume just product, but actually the creation of improvement of products or services or processes that add value to the ecosystem are all part of the definition of innovation. What's noteworthy is that Kenya, in the 2021 Global Innovation Index, was ranked position 85 out of 132 countries. So we're not doing great. We're somewhere on the map. We can do so much better, but we all need to start from somewhere. And we need to understand how we rank globally as we aspire for better and to improve. And on my right, you'll see from the world's most innovative countries what they look at and what they take into account in that ranking. And it's everything from human capital and institutions to business sophistication and other such factors that they take into account in this ranking. So it's useful to understand that because different parts of the ecosystem play a different role. Academia, for example, development of human capital is a key role that academia plays. I believe one of the reasons why we are ranked not as highly as we would like, as we would desire, is our spend on R&D as a country and in as far as private sector, and it's a call out to our friends in private sector, my other colleagues, is to spend more on R&D because some of the countries such as Switzerland, Sweden, the US, the UK, one of the things that causes them to be ranked so highly is their spend on R&D as a percentage of GDP. On the bright side, though, there is a silver lining to all this. Nairobi is ranked as the most innovative city in Africa, followed by Cape Town, then Kampala. Part of this can be attributed to the fact that over 600 active innovation hubs across the continent, 50 of those are established in Kenya. And in fact, when you think about the iHub, for example, being one of the pioneer hubs many, many years ago and helping establish and cement Kenya as the Silicon Savannah. So we can give ourselves a pat on the back for that one. We're somewhere. talking about innovation in the Kenyan context, and continuing with that, when we look at the innovation ecosystem, it has continued to evolve and to mature. And of note, and the reason why we opted to share this slide is just to show the interplay between the different actors and the importance of the different actors. From formal education, when you think about the universities, at the university, of course, you are a leader in this as well with the Chandaria Business Innovation Center. But glad to see Mount Kenya University has a research enterprise and innovation center. Strathmore has iLab. University of Nairobi has the C4D lab. There's IBM Research. I was invited to the launch of the IBM Research Center several years ago. And what was very exciting about this was for IBM, it was the first one that they had ever done in Africa. It was their 12th lab around the world. And this was an endorsement and an investment, a big one, in not only the continent, but in Kenya. And I can tell you they did a lot of research and analysis before they settled on Kenya. They considered South Africa, they considered Ghana, and finally settled on Kenya for many different reasons, not the least of which is it was a conducive environment for PhDs to have a good quality of life. So international experts coming here to head some of the research projects and initiatives, but also the willingness of the Kenyan government to be innovative and to try out sort of new products, everything from smart traffic control systems and this sort of thing. So very exciting. They were also launching Watson and how they were going to use it for global challenges across Africa. So it was fantastic that IBM picked Kenya for their 12th research lab in the world. When you look at networking and events, Kenya has come of age. When you think about Nairobi Innovation Week, when you think about the Kenya ICT Innovation Forum, in fact, there's a forum I was just learning about today. It's a FinTech Startup Week that's happening as we speak this week. So in terms of people being able to network and share ideas, there's a lot of those type of networking and events. Co-working spaces from C4D Lab to Nairobi Garage to Meta to Sota Hub. So there's no shortage of spaces and places where young people and innovators can go and get the resources and the space that they need to be able to develop innovative products, which is a key part of the ecosystem. On skills and training, there's ourselves as Immobilis, there's Moringa School, there's Kira Chicks, there's Nairobi Design Thinking, there's Nigeria Digital, which we are also a key part of, together with KEPSA, and supported very graciously by the MasterCard Foundation. And so in the aspect and the area of skills and training to complement and augment what universities do, which is crucial, there are also schools and institutions such as ours. Themes, a lot of the key themes we've seen in the Kenya innovation ecosystem have been around digital health, edtech, fintech, of course, has been a big one, and that seems to be the sexy one at the moment. But of course, there's other very important ones: digital literacy, disability inclusion, supply chain management, and mapping and GIS have all been areas that have grown in prominence and become important themes. In terms of investors who are critical part of growing any sort of innovation ecosystem, because if you don't have funding for startups, it's very hard for them to have a go-to-market strategy that is viable. And so you will find a lot of local or Pan-African funds have taken an interest in setting up here and in funding local companies, from Savannah Fund to our very own Safaricom, of course, set up the Spark Fund, to KCB Lions Den, to Fanisi Venture Capital. So there's a DOB Equity. So there's a good assortment now in the ecosystem of venture capital funds, for example. Then when it comes to public sector, there is also the ICT Authority, there's NACOSTI, there's the Kenya National Innovation Agency, all doing their part. There's the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Ministry of Health. There's a lot of different agencies that Kenya has in place. The key thing, I think, with all of this that we're showing here as part of the innovation ecosystem is how well the players play together and how much collaboration is happening amongst them. And an event such as this is a good example of how it can happen. We just need to push it a step further. and just ensure that it can be accelerated. On this one, I won't take too much time other than to point out two things that are worthy of note. The last 1 year has been particularly exciting for the tech and innovation ecosystem. In particular, because His Excellency the President recently launched the Microsoft Africa Development Center, which had been around for I believe about two years as they were setting up. They've hired, if I've gotten that number correctly, over 420 software engineers. And the only two places when Microsoft decided to build a software engineering site and set up a hub, the only two places in Africa that they chose to do it were Kenya and Nigeria. So only Lagos and Nairobi have these hubs. This is extremely exciting, and it's a huge development. Google is in the process, has announced that they are setting up their own developer hub. Amazon Web Services recently announced that they were launching a regional zone. Visa had already talked about an innovation hub. So when you see this sort of interest, it does say something about our potential as a country, what's possible, and what's already taking root that we should all be very proud of and very excited about. The question is, how do we, as partners, continue to build talent and the pipeline of talent in a way that it can serve the needs of these global tech multinationals, even as they come here, right? And they make bets on a country like Kenya. So that was one of the things I wanted to mention. And then the second one was just about the fiber, right? This year, the 6th undersea fiber cable, the Peace cable, was launched by the government, the Ministry of ICT. But prior to that, there were already 5. This is a huge driver of innovation, digital economy, and of just growth for startups, because connectivity, obviously, but affordable data and fast and reliable internet are critical ingredients in any sort of innovation ecosystem if you're to succeed. So that's been fantastic, and it's not something we should take for granted. But the fact that there are 6 and another one was still being launched this year means that the capacity continues to grow in terms of bandwidth and what it's now possible to do. Then, of course, as Nigeria Digital, we were well represented at the Connected Summit, which hadn't taken place for about 2 years because of COVID. And this year, they came back with a bang. They had over 820 attendees. And of note was also having the Oracles of the world, the Safaricoms of the world, the Amazons of the world, as very major sponsors because of their interest in seeing how they can partner with academia, how they can partner with government, and how they can partner with industry, not only to grow their businesses, but to contribute to the continuation of the foundation that's already been set up. When we talk about innovation, just to bring it down to this level of, it's not just about necessarily large companies sending rockets to the moon, right? There is innovation in our context as well that is both large and small, but just shows the level of talent, creativity amongst our young people. So when you think about M-Pesa, which I won't even go into, you may have heard about this little project of ours in Kenya called M-Pesa. But as a result of M-Pesa, for example, I believe we are, we went from a country that's known for fantastic coffee, which we still have, safaris, marathon runners, to very innovative and very innovative culture. But I think we're number 1 in terms of mobile money transfer in the world as a result of an innovation 20 plus years ago. And that was a homegrown innovation. And we can see what it has done to catalyze an entire ecosystem of agents and employment and fintechs being able to build on top of that infrastructure for payments and e-commerce being able to thrive as a result of this one innovation that then has opened so many other doors and windows. A young man called Roy Alela created something called a smart glove for sign language communication to aid people who required that. If you are deaf, for example, then this was a fantastic tool. This is just a young man who had finished university at that point. I've met him personally. He now works, I believe, at Intel. So they found good talent, and these are young people that attended local universities and went to colleges such as Immobilis and others. Solar tiles by Tony Nyaga and Charity Wanjiko. So you can imagine the idea of harnessing the power of the sun to be able to generate electricity for houses. Brilliant invention. A gas tracking device invented by a student from Technical University of Kenya. And then one of my favorites, the Lion Lights, invented by a young man called Richard Turere as a Maasai herder. So you don't necessarily, and this was at the age of 11. You don't always need to have gone to the formal education system to be creative and to be able to tinker and to apply and to be able to create really amazing things. And I love that particular concept because this is about solving real problems, right? And these are not the problems you and I have. These are problems of you will get eaten, your cows will get eaten, and so you better figure out a solution pretty fast for how you safeguard. So out of necessity, they say necessity is the mother of invention. This is a perfect example of how that's been the case. Facts about the state of unemployment. I think we would be remiss in not sharing and talking about the stark realities of our unemployment situation in Kenya, which is really a crisis. When you look at a report published in the Business Daily in February of 2020, it indicated that approximately 39% of Kenyan youth are unemployed. That's a lot of unemployed people. We know that Kenya has a youthful population, but it's also a highly rural population. Latest data from the census, the 2019 census by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, says that 35.7 million Kenyans are below the age of 35 years, while 32.73 million, or 68.9% of Kenyans, live in rural areas. So sometimes as we drive on expressways and enjoy our Java cappuccinos, we forget that the majority of Kenyans live a very different experience. And it's incumbent upon us to figure out how do we create solutions, whether it's in payments or in healthcare or in agriculture, right? Using innovation to solve those problems. How do we bring them into the fold? How do we bring them into the formal sector? How do we do R&D in a way that's inclusive? The report also indicated that the country has 18.9 million people who are not involved in any economic activity, of which 16.1 million are full-time students, 1.5 million are homemakers, and also that 48.2% of the population are below 17 years, right? So you can imagine the waves and the numbers and the volume of job seekers that enter the job market every year. And unless we rethink models around business, around startups, around companies, around funding, around processes, we cannot absorb all of these young people into gainful employment. So, for instance, another stat is that Kenya churns approximately 500,000 to 800,000 graduates annually from tertiary institutions. And we only create about less than 90,000 formal jobs, right? Which is another reason Ajira exists. And I'll get into one or two slides about that. But at the start, I mentioned that innovation is not just about a product or a service or an invention in that. It's also about changing business models or ways of delivering, right? So the thesis around Ajira was we have a lot of young unemployed people. We have digital economy showing a lot of opportunities. We have platforms coming up that help with e-commerce, online work, digital and digitally enabled opportunities that are growing. We have good internet connectivity because of the 6 cables. So the government, in its wisdom, through the Ministry of ICT and Youth Affairs, posed that question to themselves: is how do we change and redefine how we think about access to skills, access to internet and connectivity? How do we do a short training, for instance, and mentorship and linkages? How do we work with private sector? How do we create a portal that brings all of this together where young people can create accounts, can book their classes, register for trainings, or access the Nigeria Youth Empowerment Center, over 300 of them across the country, of which we help manage and operationalize about 106, as just a different way of young people accessing digital opportunities, gainful income through platforms, and dignified earning. So it really is an innovation, and it's about 4 years old now. And it really is an innovation that was piloted by our very own government to change as a game changer and as a system catalyst, right? Technology as a job creation catalyst in Kenya and in Africa. So Google partnered with Accenture and released an extremely important and insightful report called the Africa Developer Ecosystem Report, and that was in 2021, which had a lot of very interesting insights. And I'll just maybe point out two. One is that the pool of professional tech developers increased by 3.8% over that period. That's one. The focus primarily for developers, it seems, is Android and website development. There was also an increase in salaries and compensation, so it's clearly an area that young people should consider because it pays well. Nothing wrong with earning a bit of unga and putting food on the table, and particularly if you can be paid well for your intellectual capital and skills. The other insight was African startups, which hire more than 50% of the local developers, raised over 4 billion in 2021, which was 2.5 times higher than the year before, 2020. So this is exciting. It means that capital is available, because capital has always been a constraint to grow for startups. So the fact that African startups are raising, 4 billion, and that's 2.5 times higher, indicates an increased interest and therefore an increased potential for job creation through startups. Then the other interesting trend was that 38% of African developers actually work remotely for international firms outside the continent. So this is one of the revelations of this new digital economy landscape that we live in, and what a time to be a young person and alive, where you're not limited by geography, you're not limited by having to work for a local company in a desk job, 9 to 5, that your opportunities may actually be working for a company and people that you'll never meet in the US or the UK or Germany or Australia. And that because you have stable internet, and if you have the right skills, as a developer in this case, 38% of young Africans have realized that and are working remotely for companies outside the continent. I won't get into this other than just to give you the context of why we do what we do and how it links to Ajira and how that links to the innovation ecosystem and what we're trying to accomplish. So we're the first of our kind in sub-Saharan Africa. Immobilis was created almost 12 years ago as a technology training institution, ranging from network infrastructure 12 years ago when we started, to incubating startups in a partnership with the iHub and the University of Nairobi, where we got funded by the World Bank to create the MLab, to training young people now on everything from data science to Python, to JavaScript, to cybersecurity, to website development. So very practical, hands-on technical skills that are required for the future of work. And as a matter of fact, we partner with a lot of universities in those years to offer boot camps, including Kenyatta University, actually. And so we found that's a good way to quickly accelerate, in a practical way, the knowledge and the certification that students who are already undertaking a university degree have, and to give them additional, firepower and ammunition in their arsenal with these additional skills. Some of our major programs are, website and mobile app software development program, funded by the MasterCard Foundation. We've worked with Google as a partner for 5 years. We're one of 12 partners on something called the Google Digital Skills for Africa program, which is about helping young people understand how can they use social media digital marketing, and the internet to unlock economic opportunities. And whether that's creating a digital marketing agency or helping companies market and sell their products and services through search engine optimization and many other things, that's what that training is about. There's Ajira Digital, which I mentioned earlier, of which we're a key implementing partner together with KEPSA. We recently got funded by GIZ to conduct a digital accelerator program for Android in 6 countries, all the 6 EAC countries. That was before the DRC joined, which is also a very exciting development for markets, because now all of a sudden there's a market of 300 million, a population market of 300 million, which is very exciting for what companies can do and how they can innovate on products and services. And then we've also worked with NATCOM, that's the National Commission for UNESCO, on a mobile apps bootcamp, also on Android. And let me give 2 examples of how this supports the innovation ecosystem. At the end of the bootcamp, which was at Semastia, fully funded by the National Commission for UNESCO, at which we undertook the training, we required students to come up with projects and present a finished working Android mobile application that was hopefully solving a problem. And it was mobile apps for sustainable development was the theme. So it couldn't be some gaming app. It needed to be something that solves an impact problem, right, in society. And so 2 of the students came up with very noteworthy and interesting apps. One was an app where it's to help with mental health issues in the form of a chatbot, but in the form of also linking counselors and psychotherapy and all that sort of support, using an app where the person can just access those services and find not only a directory, but a way to communicate with those counselors using this mobile app and tool. Another student came up with an app that helps people stop smoking and gives points and incentives, and it's a very creative way of helping people who are smokers to quit smoking. So you can imagine, one of the SDG goals is health. So young people have so much creativity and they understand the problem well. What they need is the skill and then the funding and then the support to be able to create an SME or a startup or an enterprise around that to go to market with something that is innovative, that can solve problems for a lot of people. But now understanding the commercial aspect of it is a lot of times what we see as the challenge for young people. I won't go into this slide. In fact, I want to wrap up just to be mindful of time. But Ajira Digital is tapping into the fact that Kenya's digital economy is projected to be at $95 billion. Kenya's digital economy by 2025 will be 1.4 trillion. Currently, there are over 1.9 million online workers in Kenya alone. So this is not a small thing that's happening, and we're very excited to be a part of it. I won't go into this slide, but it just talks about some of the platforms that are also an aspect of collaboration. So when you find a young woman create a platform called Nywele Nyumbani, so that if you are a hairdresser, for example, or you do nails, then you can tap into customers using an online platform, or others like Yakazi or Letawera or Wowzy or Robisearch or Bookings Africa or iBuild, which cut across the spectrum of blue-collar skills and digital skills. And these are local platforms. So they're both innovations in their own right, as people who found a problem area in Kenya, created a company around it, and are using digital platforms to match the supply and the demand side of what they do. So that's it. I promise I will try and be brief. So Nahaya Machache, I would like to wrap up. But thank you so much.
All right, those are sentiments from Ken Mwenda from the Ajira side, of course, at Ivory Conference. Ivory Conference, a mirror to Africa's diverse, dynamic startups, businesses, ventures, capital, and economy. And it looks like we are the issue of capital is no longer that big, especially in the African continent, as relating to startups. Seeing that so far, which is 7 months into the year, $2 billion have been raised by African startups alone. Top 3 of those countries, Kenya being the second, right after being the third, right after Nigeria and South Africa, which means there's a lot more money coming in. When you look at some of those numbers, $95 billion is the current size of the digital economy in Kenya, and it looks like it's gonna shoot up to trillions by 2030. If currently we have 1.9 million online workers just in Kenya alone, and with digitization and transformation of the economy, online seems we might have much more of that into the future. So you can tell us what you think about that. But now we have a look at some of those comments which are given by a representative from the State Department of Industrialization.
Thank you very much, Professor, and really straight on the Dean, Vice Chancellor Kenyatta, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Kenyatta University, Professor Vincent Onywera, and a friend. We've worked together, as you said in your opening remarks, for quite a number of years, and indeed, yes, the World Under 18 was incredibly a remarkable event, and I think the best IAAF or World Athletics has ever held anywhere in the world. And the contribution of Kenyatta University is unrivaled, in my view. It was excellent. I really feel at home being here and being part of this group. Members of the university management, our guest speaker, Dr. Catherine Ondoyo, Harvard University, other keynote speakers, the Dean School of Business, Paul Sang, and really well done again and again. I really appreciate being part of the activities you undertake in this regard. Very important for us, especially here at Industrialization as well. And all other deans present. The fourth IBRIC Organizing Committee, and in the same regard, my condolences to Dr. Maina and his family on the loss. We pray that we find peace at this time. The international and local participants, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning. Today, I'm delighted to join in the official opening of the 4th International Business Research and Industrial Conference. This marks the second time that I am part of this auspicious occasion, a testimonial to the importance and significant role of the conference, as well as the government's commitment to research, dissemination, and uptake. In industry, this is critically important. From the onset, I would wish to applaud Kenyatta University staff, students, and the entire fraternity for your continued commitment in providing solutions to contemporary issues affecting our nation. We cannot forget the role the university played during the COVID-19 disruptions in the country, especially in coming up with the very first homegrown ventilator in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this conference, Business Reinvention, Innovation, and Creativity for Economic Recovery, is in line with the government's initiatives of accelerating economic recovery for improved livelihoods, as contained in this year's budget statements for the financial year 2022 and 2023. As you may be aware, Kenya Vision 2030, the long-term government blueprint, seeks to transform Kenya into a newly industrialized, high middle income country, providing high quality of life. This, therefore, places manufacturing as one of the key sectors for the economic growth. This has been further emphasized in the Big Four agenda. The growth of the manufacturing sector is highly dependent on the ability to innovate in accordance with the constantly changing consumer needs, tastes, and preferences. Therefore, business reinvention, innovation, and creativity become key ingredients towards the fourth industrial revolution. In this regard, the future of education should emphasize on the immense need to look beyond traditional value addition approaches and practices and strategically utilize the Internet of Things to prepare the coming workforce for the challenges that are ahead of us. Universities and other higher education institutions Universities and other higher education institutions are encouraged to embrace innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship in their learning, teaching, and research to meet the global demand for competitive goods and services. Innovative universities should pay special attention in strengthening the innovation ecosystem that comprises of, among others, innovation intermediaries. These are incubators, accelerators, innovation hubs, startups, students, teaching staff, and other innovators. Increasingly, the academia and the business community are encouraged to forge partnerships, including setting up science and technology parks to fast-track the commercialization of innovations and research findings. The corporate world is looking up to the startups to provide solutions, resilience, and sustainability in the world of disruptive change. Indeed, our economy is transforming from a natural resource-based economy into an innovation, technology-enabled, and knowledge-based economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development has developed a strategic, comprehensive, and integrated strategy that is the Kenya Industrial Transformation Program to guide Kenya's journey to industrialization. This strategy is beginning to shape the economy. According to the Economic Survey 2022, the economy grew as measured by the GDP by 7.5% in 2021, compared to a contraction of 0.3%, an indication of the recovery from COVID-19. The business reforms measures undertaken by the government, including ease of doing business initiatives and building world-class infrastructure, have also contributed to this growth and increased local and foreign investment in the country. The East African Community Market has also recently expanded to a population of 300 million, with the inclusion of Democratic Republic of Congo as the 6th EAC member state. I wish to urge the university fraternity to take advantage of this massive investment in ICT that has seen internet penetration rise from 31.4% in 2013 to 93.9% in 2022, with cellular penetration increasing from 74.9% in 2013 to 100% currently. This provides a good opportunity for transitioning into the fourth industrial revolution and being part of the global digital economy. The increase in diaspora remittances by tenfold in the last decade, now standing at an all-time high of over 400 billion, surpassing traditional exports, and makes human capital our greatest export. And this is further demonstration that our universities continue to prepare technical proficient and knowledgeable workforce that are globally competitive. Kenya's robust innovation ecosystem is beginning to pay dividends, as according to Patek. Kenya was the second largest destination of venture capital investment in Africa, attracting a colossal $305 million in 2020. And remember, this is in the middle of COVID-19. Lastly, I urge the university, through the School of Business, to continuously network and collaborate with the industry so as to ensure that the curriculum being taught is in tandem and responsive to the industry needs. This is the time to ask whether the global higher education community will only react to how business world is shaping the fourth industrial revolution, or if it will be among the key players of shaping the fourth industrial revolution. I believe with KU and others, we will be in Kenya part of the shaping community. With these few remarks, it is now my honor and pleasure to declare the IBRIC 2022 conference officially opened. Thank you very much.
All right, so those are a few of those things which were spoken over at the IBRIC conference this year. That is the third one organized by the School of Business of Kenyatta University, a very innovative approach towards ensuring that key industry stakeholders in academia, research and government, as well as private institutions, are involved in ensuring that business or issues, matters of business or factors that are affecting business in the country are taken a look at, and solutions are discussed, of course, as we've heard from those various representatives from Ajira and also the State Department of Industrialization. Much more did happen. We did live stream that, so you can find it somewhere in KUTV Kenya's page and watch the whole conference as it went down. We had asked earlier for comments on especially by Nairobi residents who are watching this show, what they thought about the gubernatorial debate which went down yesterday night, especially from the front runners of UDS side, Johnson Sakaja and Polycarp Igathe of the side of Jubilee Party or Azimio la Umoja as a whole. And I have a few here that I can read before we go for a short break and then come back to Biashara Tuesday. Kim Wanax, nauliza Kim Wanai, see Kim Wanax, but thank you. Kim Wanax, I was not planning to vote in August 9th, but I won't stay home and allow another Sonko to win. I will vote Igathe. All right. It's already 9 a.m. and Polycarp Igathe hasn't yet produced fake documents which he claims were used by Johnson Sakaja, that is Calvin Oyo. Expert, Sakaja keeps insisting Igathe ran away from office. Why did he run away from school? Wow, okay, that's expert Pato asking there on Twitter. The upside of Nairobi governor debate was getting to know 4 more candidates that I did not know prior, so I have more options. Yeah, as I'd said, thank you, Alex Courier. You have more options, that not just the 2 who were there yesterday evening. So ensure that you have a look at that and vote for the rest from UPA, independent candidates as well. There are 5 more names for you to select from, apart from Polycarp Igathe and Johnson Sakaja. Taking a short break, and then I'm right back. Hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Keep your comments coming in. I'll be reading them as we're back. It's 9:32 in the morning. The show goes all the way to 10.